Hi, I'm Brandon from Royalty Free Radio, and I'm here with Erik Danielsson of WATAIN, Swedish metal band. The first question I have for you, first of all, welcome back to America. It's good to have you back. I read that you have a guitarist from a Dutch band called The Devil's Blood as part of the lineup for this tour.
That's right.
How does WATAIN go about initiating a new member?
Well, in this case, it was a pretty natural solution to it.
Yeah, you guys are friends, right? And he made a cameo on Lawless, right?
Yeah, that's right. No, I mean we've been in touch for quite a long time, and the alternative or the original idea when we realized that Seth, our real live guitarist, couldn't get in, the first plan was to have me doing guitars, but I'm not really that comfortable with that anymore,
okay.
you know, especially with the new songs being a bit more intricate.
Definitely, yeah.
So, no, it was just the subject came on the table and everyone was, you know, of course we should use Salim, you know, there's no other option, no other reason to do anything else. So, as far as initiation goes, well, he's
already in it.
Yeah, you can say that.
Did you guys have much time to rehearse together?
Enough, I would say.
Cool.
Yeah, he came up to Sweden on 2 occasions.
Very cool.
Yeah, we had enough time.
Okay. When I last saw the band live, which was October of 2008, you were playing bass as well as singing.
Yeah.
Do you prefer to focus solely on the vocal duties, and does this have any effect on your performance style?
I don't know, it's hard to say, you know. I mean, for me, WATAIN is meant to be a 5-piece on stage, and that's why, you know, usually when there are no obstacles in the way to bring members and so on, I mean, the real lineup that we have is with me on vocals only, and that's of course what I prefer, and that's also why we brought another guy in this time. But so the last times when I had done the bass and so on, it's all been about not being able to bring members because of criminal records and so on.
Right. It is clear when watching WATAIN perform live that every member is completely immersed in the moment. But there is something else in addition to each individual member playing an instrument. There's an overall presence that you feel. And I've heard you refer to the band's members as a filter through which the energy of WATAIN flows. Can you elaborate on that at all? And is there some kind of pre-show ritual that must be performed in order to summon that energy, or is it something that's with you guys at all times?
I think that any relevant rock and roll band, be it from the 50s or 60s or 70s, whatever, have all been filters in the way that I meant it. I think there's always something much greater at work at a real rock concert, you know, other than just a bunch of guys playing on the stage. And that was sort of what I was trying to say, that, you know, that's why we are we put a lot of emphasis on the fact that we are trying to familiarize and bond a lot with the energies that are that the concerts evoke, and we try to enter in touch with them and live with them and work with them, you know, in our personal lives, in order to be able to, as natural as possible and as without really forcing it, you know, just being able to channel them and to be filters.
It can even happen when you guys are just in your practice space. It's completely separate from the crowd.
Yeah, of course, but in a live context, I would say that it's more intentional, maybe, and it's more natural somehow, because the whole setting is there and the mindset is there. That, you know, concerts to us is not about hanging the guitars and getting up on the stage. You know, to us it's quite a lot more than that. So it's a much more natural context for that kind of communion.
Right. Lawless Darkness feels like an album that needs to be experienced from start to finish to me. With that said, how did you go about selecting a single track, which was Reaping Death, to release prior to the album? And also, how do you select the songs that you want to include in your live set?
Yeah, it's not really something we sit down and discuss that much. It's just something that, you know, we do what feels natural somehow.
Right.
And as was the case with the Reaping Death single, that we always had the idea of doing a single before the album. Just, I don't know, it just felt like a proper thing to do. You know, people had been waiting for so long, and we knew that the album was going to take quite a while after it had been recorded to actually get it out. So yeah, I'm still very satisfied with that choice, because it's one of the more lyrically and theme-wise, it's one of the more how to say, celebrative songs. I don't know if that's a word.
Energetic,
but,
it's really intense.
Yeah, and
right off the get-go.
And the purpose of the song is to glorify and to celebrate, you know, and that's, to me, an important way of giving people a first glance at what Lawless Darkness is, because it's a positive song, you know, to me, actually, to use a weird word. Yeah.
I read an interview where you said that WATAIN is the mirror of our hearts, and that's why it becomes black metal. When writing new music, is it essential to completely isolate yourselves from the outside world?
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, not if you're talking about going to a desolate place and staying there and writing songs, because the hearts that I'm talking about, or the things that are reflected within our music, are already isolated.
Yeah.
And they are already bricked up within the temple of WATAIN, and there's nothing from the outside world that comes within those walls, you know. So the isolation, the isolation aspect is already taken care of, you could say. But on the other hand, Lawless Darkness was written mostly at a cabin where I lived for 2 years up in the north of Sweden, in a pretty desolate area, and
really,
it's I don't know, you know, maybe it made things easier, but I wouldn't say it was required to actually do it. But yeah, sure, it was a lot easier to focus.
Cool.
With no one else around.